as they gave Thor an adopted daughter at the end of Thor Love and Thunder. The whole time that was playing out, I was like, really? We're doing this? I mean, this is a huge change for the character and unique to the MCU. Thor certainly has never had an adopted daughter, and while he's had granddaughters in Jason Aaron's recent run, but he's never had anyone that he was like responsible for. Whenever you would meet Thor's daughter, it was like in some alternate universe or a dystopian future, and you were like, Thor's not around, but look who is, like that kind of a situation. And now, once the shock wore off, I remembered something that I'd heard from one of my sources, and that's been percolating in the back of my mind, and that's that a lot of the Avengers are going to become parents in the very, 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 very new future. And I'm not just talking Wanda, whose twins, of course, in the comics famously grew up to be fan favorites, Wiccan, and then also Speed, who nobody really cares about. But, we're going to get Wiccan. But I'd heard also there was a possibility that T'Challa would be having a son that would be revealed in the very, very near future. But I hadn't heard anything about Thor getting a child. And so I was really surprised. But it makes sense from what I've heard about this literal new generation of Avengers. I mean, as I said, there have always been alternate universe children and dystopian future kids, and they've played around with different hookups, like who gets together with who and has a child. But they've never done it in the main storyline, really. Although DC has dipped a toe in this pond. I was going to mention them later in the video, but I'll mention them now as well. Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne. Jonathan Kent has already taken over for Superman. And I think that Damian Wayne has been, it's been teased he would do the same with his pops. And I have to say, while it's never taken in the past, Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne have proven to be quite popular. I like them a lot. I usually never like these characters, these kids of the characters you really want to read. But I like these guys. I like Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne quite a bit. So with the MCU, this is one way to literally bring in a new generation. We've been wondering what Marvel's going to do. Other franchises reset with a new actor in the lead role, but Marvel can't really do that because they're telling one continuous story. So their option is variants. They can bring in variants now from other universes, or also now the children of these famous heroes, who they're going to have to age up fast. Nobody wants to watch Junior Avengers. Maybe somebody does. I mean, I don't think so, though. So yes, Gores Daughter is a completely new character. In the comics, Gorr even had a son instead of a daughter. So this is totally Taika Waititi's doing at Kevin Feige's approval. So at the end of Thor Love and Thunder, just to recap, the god Eternity grants Gorr one wish. And Thor convinces Gorr not to wish for the death of all gods, although I got the feeling that maybe Gorr wasn't quite sure what his wish was going to be, maybe. I think he wanted someone maybe to convince him. And his real concern about bringing his daughter back to life was that he was dying, thanks to the Necro Sword, which had poisoned his soul. And he would who would take care of my daughter? So Thor, with Jane's encouragement, agrees to adopt her. And as I said in my spoiler review, I thought that the look on Thor's face, Chris Hemsworth did a wonderful job. Christian Bale was face acting all over this movie, but in that moment, I thought that Chris Hemsworth did a wonderful job conveying the conflicting emotions of Thor in that moment, that this was a huge responsibility that he wasn't sure he wanted to undertake, but he felt that not only did he owe it to put Gorr on the right path and to save all the other gods, but it was something to honor Jane. And of course, he just lost Jane and was dealing with those emotions. So it was really, really good. It was great. It's like I wanted my girlfriend, but instead I got this adopted kid. But I like this kid. I think this kid has potential. And then we have that great end scene where it seems like Thor is getting her ready for school, but instead it's for battle. See the stripy ones? Those are the ones who are trying to help. That was great. Because he's still going across the galaxy, fighting the good fight, being the deciding factor in these skirmishes or battles, right? But now he has some company. Gores Daughter has the powers of a god, including purple eye beams. I do love eye beams. She ruined that pan. I thought that was great. And jumps into battle alongside Thor, wielding Stormbreaker, while Thor has Mjolnir back, which his new daughter has decorated like a doll/girl's bicycle, which I also thought was kind of funny. And they are the duo that is known as the title of the movie, Love and Thunder. I love it. It's so sweet. But let's back up here, because there's some interesting stuff to zero in on this development. So first off, when Gores Daughter comes back to life, she at very first looks like the god Eternity. She's a silhouette of herself filled in with space, right? Is Gores Daughter Eternity itself? Is it that, did the god become Gores Daughter, or is it a part of Eternity? Because, Gores Daughter doesn't have powers, so where did these powers come from? That wasn't in the wish. Maybe it was. Maybe Gorr said, maybe Gorr had a silent wish. He wanted, to promote his daughter and to make sure she didn't run into the problems that he did. She's like, make her a god so she doesn't have to worship them. That would be interesting if it was part of Gorr's wish. I don't think he actually said it out loud. It all happened so fast and I couldn't believe what was happening. So anyway, I'm also curious if that's even Gorr's daughter at all. I think they should have asked her some questions. It's really interesting. Is it just a shadow of Gorr's daughter? Eternity's interpretation of her? I would have some questions. All right, so in the comics, Eternity, the god, can manipulate the universe itself, which is, I guess, how it can grant wishes. And brings Gorr's daughter back to life. But if she has part of Eternity's powers, would that mean that as she got older and learned how to handle her powers, could she bring people back to life too, or create shadows of them? You know where I'm going with this. Could she bring her own father back, Gorr? Christian Bale has been going around in interviews making it seem like he might come back. Is he trying to avoid spoilers? Is he pulling an Andrew Garfield? I love that's what that's called now. Or are there plans? Does he know that maybe he could be brought back? I hope so, because he was a waste of a fantastic villain. She could maybe be the one to reach Valhalla, right? Where Jane Foster, Thor's a god too, though, but where Jane Foster, Heimdall, and maybe a heck of other characters are drinking mead. Be sure to check out my separate video going into that end credit scene in depth. But I also have to add that when I saw her looking similar to Eternity, that silhouette of space, she reminded me of Singularity from the recent A-Force comic, which didn't do so well, but I thought that visually Singularity was a very captivating character. Singularity didn't have no I-beams or super strength, but still, I do wonder if she's partly the inspiration for this new character of Gores Daughter. I also wonder if Gores Daughter could eventually become the MCU's Angela, right? Angela started out in the Spawn comics, but due to a legal battle over ownership, a couple of years ago, she was brought over to Marvel Comics, right? And she was reimagined as the long-lost sister. She didn't really work out. I don't think anybody really bought her comics, but I think it was a pretty good idea. She was reimagined as the long-lost sister of Thor, like Hela in the movies, only in the comics, Hela isn't related to Thor and Loki at all. But Angela was kidnapped by the Angels, which are pretty much like the Valkyries, but just in a different realm, as a mere baby. Lots of babies being traded around. Loki, now Angela. And she later is reunited with her brother and family, She-Ra style, very much like the She-Ra storyline. Now, since joining Marvel Comics, Angela joined the Guardians of the Galaxy with some pretty cool artwork, I must say, and went on to have many adventures both in space and the Nine Realms. Angela has a very distinct look, a very cool look, and I can see that maybe being borrowed for Thor's new daughter as she gets older. There's a great look right there. She even kind of has the face tattoos, right, that Angela has. I think it's an interesting idea. Giving Thor a daughter this way also reminds me a bit of Batman and Robin, with them out in action together. Batman and Carrie Kelly Robin, right? Although Thor treats Gores Daughter like an actual daughter, whereas Bruce Wayne treats his Robins as apprentices and soldiers in training. So it'll be a healthier relationship. I agree with Korg. I think Thor would make and is making a fantastic father. I do wonder if they'll bring this development over to the comics. I'd be down for it if it was well written. Giving established characters in comics that have big fan bases children can be very difficult to do. But as I said, Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne have turned out very well, so it is doable. Finally, did anyone notice that when they were interacting with the god Eternity, they were in an open expanse with an endless horizon, water on the ground? Looked an awful lot like the plane where you go after doing the Infinity Stone snap, right? Soul World, aka the inside of the Soul Stone. Tony Stark was also supposed to see an older version of his daughter there after he snapped his fingers at the end of Endgame, but the scene was cut, although we've all seen it in the deleted scenes. Anyway, that similarity in environments can't be a coincidence. So hopefully we'll find out how Eternity and Soul World might be connected or related. I thought that was a very distinct choice that they made. So what do you think of the ending of Thor Love and Thunder? What do you think about Thor having a daughter and what it means for the MCU at large with all these kids coming into the picture? Heimdall's kid too. And all these other Avengers like, Wanda and potentially T'Challa. Share those thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.